Hello, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. 2,996 points, and if that sounds weird to you, that's because the guy I'm playing against, this is going to be a practice game for Warhammered. This is a tournament that's coming up in July. I'll be talking about it later, but he wants to start playing around with his list, so that's why we're doing this point total here. This one here is also be kind of a rematch, because last time we played, it was actually Dwarves versus Vampires, exactly the same as this time, but I kind of screwed up, because I did some copy and paste, made some assumptions, and didn't realize I didn't have an anvil, and had a free anvil in my list. Now, the thing like misfired every turn, and his Vampire Lord like exploded, but now we're going to have like a rematch. Points are legit. Hopefully we won't have any miscasts, and here we go. So as far as my list go, it's actually pretty standard for what I take for dwarves. Like I say, I always love the dwarf rune lord on the anvil with the master rune of balance and the rune where especially a dispel scroll and a shield. Done. Then I take a BSB that has a 1+ save, +1 strength, and also has a master rune of challenge. It'll be useless here, but whatever. And then everything else is going into troops and war machines. So a big block of 40 warriors with great weapons and banner, 45 with shields and banner and musician. Then I have 20 thunderers with shields, 20 quarrelers. I then have 21 miners with banner and champ with steam drill, another 20 hammerers, and then we have 2 organ guns, 2 cannons, one being flaming, and then also a grudge thrower with +2 strength. I really would like to have the re-roll for the master of accuracy as well, but I'm trying it without just to try and put the points around. As far as his list goes, like I said, we'll kind of go over it once we see it, but it's kind of based around, again, with this extreme flanking maneuver thing, where he has the unit of Black Knights, there's the Super Vampire Lord in there, then he has a Nether Vampire, another Necromancer, and the Vampire is going to be leading a big, huge horde of Graveguard. So they're going to do their thing. There's going to be skeleton blocks out there, zombies, 2 Terrorgeists, 1 Spirit Host. But yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where we'll have to look at it once it's all out there. But it's a fairly scary list because you're dealing with the center where there's all these Graveguard, and all of a sudden you have this massive flank on you. So let's see what happens to the Dwarves this time. Alright, so this is taking a look at his left flank, and he has 25 zombies and also a spirit host. Then his main line here in the center was a big block of skeletons. You can see all the Graveguard there. Of course, they have the Banner of Barrows, and there's the Vampire inside there. Back behind, there's the Necromancer and his little bunker of zombies. Terrorgeist #1, and then some more skeletons. And then over here on the far right, he has his little Knight unit here. There's a 9 Black Knight, Super Vampire Lord in there. He's even a level 4. Terrorgeist number 2, and then also these dogs that have already vanguarded up. For my side, on the one flank, I have my Quarrelers, the 2 cannons, and the Grudge Thrower, and this force turned out just to be a regular one. I kind of had a hard time where to place these things because of the forest and the terrain that actually I set up. But you can see my Anvil of Doom is in the back. I have my Thunders inside the building. And the plan is that first turn they're going to pop out and actually kind of block the organ guns. Obviously, I have the 2 organ guns there. And this wood is the one where it's going to slowly eat your guys. So that's bad. But, when you're toughness 7, taking some strength 4 hits isn't that bad. And I should be able to last the end of the game anyway. Then I have my Hammerers with my BSB. All the shield guys, and then the great weapons on the far side, and of course the miners are off the board. So overall, the board looks like this. We just rolled up the regular battle line type of game. But really, when I tried putting down the terrain, I tried putting down, some of these larger buildings, especially that larger manor in the center. Because when you go to Warhammered, it's going to be a lot of terrain, especially big things that block line of sight. And even though that's kind of bad for me in dealing with this Terrorgeist, it's just, if we're practicing for a tournament, we should be practicing with the amount of terrain that they normally have. Now, he has wisely put them on the far side there, but I finished first, and as long as I get to shoot first, I should be able to try and go after that one Terrorbat, but otherwise the rest will be able to safely go around to my flank. But overall, my main idea here is to slow them down, hit them with whatever stuff I can, blast that Graveguard to hell with my organ guns, and then hopefully by the time that this all works out, I'm only dealing with one threat at a time. But we'll have to see what he does. And the first thing he does is, even though I have a +1, he gets the first turn. So he's coming zipping around the right side there. Now my cannons won't be able to shoot any of those bats first turn. And yeah, it's a little bit of an issue. Now, of course, since the Vampire Lord is on the right flank, that means that he's going to have all the rest of the stuff not march. Now, this was a big deal for him last time because I got to shoot the hell of him. But here he has, more guys. There's a lot of different threats. But the main thing here is that, as you can see, because the main line is so far back, I can now deal with the right side first somehow. So on my turn, what I do is I move up the hammerers to try and really deal with the spirit host, because my BSB has a magical weapon, so you can actually do that. And I'm hoping to swing around kind of to the left. So if he charges into me, that's great. And then hopefully I can put some pressure on the skeletons and then his bunker. On the right side, you can notice that I didn't move at all. And that seems stupid, but the reason why I did this is because I actually want one of the bats to fly behind me so that on my turn I can use the anvil, turn around and charge into it. I did have some issues here. I had my one cannon misfire and it can't shoot next turn. I didn't have a lot of good targets, but I was able to kill, I can't remember what it is, 8 of the grave guards, something like that. So a good chunk of them are dead now. I tried shooting at the Terrorgeist as well, but no damage done there. And I killed a few zombies. And finally, probably the most important thing is I used the anvil this turn on the knights in order to slow them down. On his turn, though, maybe I should have seen this coming, but he actually charged the dogs into my flank. Now, this is a problem because even though I'm going to beat them, they're going to slow me down for a turn. And so, I can assume these guys are going to sneak behind me, try and get to war machines. Well, I just assumed wrong. And otherwise, another big problem that happened is that he got irresistible Van Hales. And so all 3 of these units now are a lot more farther up than I thought they were going to be. Now, the miscast went and killed a bunch of zombies and did a wound to the Necromancer, which I'll just heal later. But yeah, this is definitely problems. So otherwise, he comes here. He did get off the -3 leadership, the Doom and Darkness on the Shield Warriors. Screams at them, kills a good number. Also screams at the Warriors and, the Great Weapon guys and kills some of them too. And at the end of the turn, it looks like this. So yeah, like I said, his stuff is kind of in a good position. One of his knights tripped on the fence there, so that was nice. I beat the dogs, but just barely, and now I turn to face them. And otherwise, yeah, I got threats on my right. I got the infantry in my front. I really have to handle this carefully or else I'm in a lot of trouble. So one of the things he did that was kind of a mistake is that these guys were on the flank of the skeleton unit, the way he had it set up. So I got these hammers here, and this is fantastic because I'm going to grind these guys down quick and then either be able to aid with fighting the grave guard or go after the bunker. So this was pretty massive. Also, my miners came on, and I used the anvil, and bam, into the rear. Now, I probably should have deployed them to get another row of attacks there, but I went for ranks. Silly idea, but that's what I did. So, otherwise, at the end of the turn, it looks like this. Obviously, in my magic phase, I stopped the Doom and Darkness. You can see in the combat on the left, I kill a bunch of skeletons. Oh, those poor Graveguard. I just shot the hell out of those guys, rolling some 10s for my organ gun and stuff like that. They were, short range of some of my Thunderers. So, yeah, they're down to not very many more. and the shield warriors move up to kind of block them in. The dogs are dead, the Terrorgeist is dead, and so all of a sudden I have like a solid battle line again. So, he's going to be able to charge into the warriors, they'll be still, the Terrorgeist will go somewhere, but really overall I'm liking how this is going now. On his turn, he has some charges. He has the Spirit Host go into the Thunderers and his Graveguard into the Warriors, kind of what I expected. And you can also see here from the organ guns that these things are being eaten up a lot faster than I thought. It only works on a 4+, and then they only take D6 hits, but it seems like every time they get hit, and it's 6 hits. So, unfortunate. On his turn, though, doesn't even matter because one Terrorgeist flies over and screams at the one. And yeah, this was bad. Basically, he came into my warriors here, right? And, he killed a lot of me. I killed like one back. But the thing is that when I was steadfast at the end, I rolled a 9. Well, a 9 isn't bad because I'm leadership 9. However, the vampire had a power where I'm -1 leadership. So that failed. I'm in range for a reroll, roll a 10. And my guys get ran down. And while he's overrunning, he's actually in the flank of the Thunderers, so now here's another combat. And so when everything's all done, now the Thunderers are dead too, he's overrun into the organ gun, and just like that, just when I thought everything was going great, my center has completely collapsed. The good news is that his skeletons are almost dead, there's only 10 more of them left, but that's just not fast enough. So I gotta try and pull some shenanigans to catch up, but right now it's a little bit scary. So on my turn, these guys reform to go into Horde, and I use the Anvil to charge the flank of the last Terrorgeist. This is after one cannon put a couple of wounds on it. And when everything's done, it looks like this. So one thing I did forget to do is I forgot to skeech back with the miners, but hey, that's not that big of a deal. The skeletons are destroyed. I also go and destroy the Terrorgeist. One of the things that that Thunderstomps at the same time as my great weapons. So that killed like 6 guys, but whatever. I should be able to grind him down now. Of course, yeah, he destroyed my organ gun. I actually used my, the cannon shot and killed itself. I'm down 1 cannon now. The one stone thrower, because it's magical, the runes, it went after the Spirit Host. I hit it, and I did 1 wound. So, what can you do? I tried my best. So on his turn, his Spirit Host comes into my cannon, and that's not a big deal, because he won't be killing me fast. I can go to ranks with my Corlers and come in, as long as I hold long enough. Otherwise, over here, what really happens is he charges into my great weapon guys, obviously. The knights go and charge into my miners, and I just need to keep these guys the hell away from me. So I just flee, go off the board. He needs double 6s to get to my other dwarves, and he fails. And at the end of turn, it looks like this. I killed some of the Graveguard, like 5 of them, but he killed tons back. I mean, that one Vampire Lord is strength 6. I don't know what the build is actually with what to get there, but yeah, it's pretty damn killy. It doesn't have Red Fury or anything like that, but 4 strength 6 attacks. That kills some dudes. Otherwise, he killed 1 guy from my cannon, and I held, and that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, in his magic phases, he's trying to do his best, but I'm always ending up having more dice than him because, of course, I got 2 for the Rune Lord, 1 for the Anvil, and then I steal 1. So between that and sometimes him rolling kind of low, his magic phases have been pretty much non-existent unless he rolls irresistible. So on my turn here, what I do is I move up the hammers and I use the Anvil to send me into the flank. And that means that when this is all done, now, of course, like my Quarrelers have gone to ranks on the left. The cannon fight was a pillow fight. And yeah, now the Graveguard are gone and the Vampire is gone. So there's some points in the bank. I'm probably going to have to flee a charge from the Knights, but my Hammer should be able to fight off whatever's over here. So I'm kind of dwindled, but I think I have enough to get the job done. So on his turn, yeah, Skeletons come into the Hammerers. I'm not going to beat that unit before the end of the game, but he won't beat me either. The Knights go into my Great Weapon guys, and they're going to flee, and they got away, of course. And then at the end, it looks like this. So still, he just can't beat that cannon. in the combat there, he kills a couple of my hammers, but I kill some of his guys. And then I do a little sneaky, jerky thing here where I just shift to the left. Now, he can't move anymore to the left because of the building in his way. But at this point, we're still maxed out for models in engage, basically in combat, right? I have 5, he has 5. So I didn't reduce that. But what it means is that now the knights can't charge into that combat because they're in a front, but there's no way to contact. So a little bit sneaky, but, you know, I'm allowed to be sneaky. I'm dwarves. So on my turn, I rally with my dudes there. I go and I charge into the spirit host with my ranked up guys, and I kill the spirit host at some points as well. I'm not sure about this point. I wanted to use the anvil on the rallied warriors to make them move, but I didn't know if it was actually allowed. So what I did instead is I tried using it on the zombies just to try and bring them down even more, and I misfired, and luckily nothing bad happened, but hey, you know, it could have been bad. On his turn, he just wants to do something, so these zombies charge in, and I have no doubt that I'll beat them. I mean, I'm Corlers and I'm crappy, but he's zombies and he's really crappy. And then over here, the knights, yeah, there's not much they can really do, but they just kind of march on up just to be in the picture, really. He casts some spells. I think it was Van Hale's. Miscasts again. Both of his characters take a wound, but yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about... Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't Van Hale's. He put actually his Winds of Undeath or whatever it is, the vortex, through my guys, killing a couple of my warriors. So, you know, whatever. The lost wounds to him is no big deal. Killed a few of my guys, and, you know, you never know when the dice will go hot. Otherwise, it looks like this at the end of everything. The zombies are pretty much dead. There's just 5 left. They killed nothing back. I'm really killing off those skeletons. You know, if I had a few more turns, I would be in ace spot. But, you know, there's only one more round of combat, so I won't be getting those points. And so the real story is I just move up my warriors to go and use the anvil to charge in. It works, but then I roll like a 1 and a 2 for my charge and fail the charge. So that's a lot of points I could have got, and I didn't, but that's just the way it goes. And by the way, I also shot the grudge thrower and cannon at it, but scatter and overshot, killed a hedge, and yeah, the necromancer lives. So overall, at the very end, we didn't bother even doing the combat with the skeletons, just killed off the zombies, and that's the game. So there you go, a victory for the dwarves, and finally it's legit. I'm not cheating. Now, some of the things that came up in this game that were interesting is, first of all, the anvil was definitely the MVP of the game. I've been saying forever that the anvil is amazing and people should be taking it for a couple of different reasons. I mean, first of all, it gives you great magic defense, right? You're already looking at +4 to spell dice. Sorry, well, basically with the Master Rune of Balance. You have the 2 from the anvil, or sorry, 1 from the anvil, 2 from the Lord. You're stealing 1, and they're -1. So that's awesome right there. Then you have the whole thing where you can be using it to be slowing units down, for all the shenanigans it can pull, and if nothing else, it makes dwarves not boring. If you take out that Rune Lord, put in a Dwarf Lord, and, you know, just go like all combat-y, well, great. Then I'm standing there to fight, cannons are shooting, and it's a very boring game. Once you throw that anvil in there, stuff's happening. You know, it's dwarves, but guys are moving all over the place. They're mobile. So, there you go. I mean, it's awesome. It's great. Obviously, on his side, he had some surprises for me too. The whole thing with that one vampire with the -1 leadership and that stuff. I mean, it came up. You know, here I thought like, oh, it's dwarves. No rerollable leadership 9. I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden, my whole center just collapsed just like that. Obviously, you know, with the different buildings and him getting first turn, those Terra guys probably live longer than would on like an average board and, you know, average luck type thing. But, you know, again, it's very important that whenever you go and practice for a tournament, that you practice using the terrain you'd expect. If you're going to one where usually they say, hey, we got 2 forests in the hill, practice with 2 forests in the hill. Because there's no use kind of like practicing building shenanigans if you're not going to have any use of it. So there you go. I'm not actually planning to take my dwarves to Warhammer. It's going to be orcs and my goblins, but I still got to make my list, see what crazy things I come up with. But either way, this was a great fun game. Nothing like last time where I was accidentally cheating and his vampire explodes and blah, blah, blah. This is a great game with lots of stuff dying and lots of things happening. So hope you guys like it. Bye.